our Talkies, the Anjana Kumar show, I have a very special guest here with me. Her name is Laura Everest. She's a leadership consultant. She's also Dubai's leading Gallup Clifton Strengths coach. She's an author and she's a master of resilience and much, much more. Laura, I am so proud of your achievements and all the titles that come along with you. You truly are so well deserving of all of them. And it's such an honor for me to have you here on my podcast. A pleasure as well.
Thank you for inviting me here today.
Thank you. So I've always wanted to know, I of course do know about your journey, but it's never old when we talk about your strength and how you've come here this far. So please tell us all these titles, how did they happen? When did they all start?
Goodness me, well, I mean, I've been around a very long time and I've been training leaders for more than 25 years now.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought at work I'd nailed it. I was a speaker, I worked with a wonderful training company, and I thought, I really got it sussed and I knew what it took for people to thrive.
Yeah.
And then, one of my key things, what I love to do was running.
Mm-hmm.
And 11 years ago, September, so it's, exactly, it was 11 years, I was running one morning before work and I was hit by a car and thrown 30 feet. And I remember waking up in the road and thinking, well, if I'm lying here, I've obviously been hit because I wouldn't choose to lie here. And I thought, well, if I can think like this, there's obviously nothing wrong with my head. And then I kind of cast my eyes down my body and thought, oh my gosh, where's my right foot? And I hadn't really realised, I just knew that my right foot had kind of come off. And that something else was wrong because my back was very painful, and I was lying at a very weird angle. So I realised things weren't right. And I just thought, oh gosh, people were saying around me, stay with us. And I thought, where do you think I'm going to go? I thought, oh my gosh, they think I'm going to die. And I thought, am I? And I thought, you know what? No, I'm not going to die. I am young, I've got young kids. I'm supposed to be training in an hour and a half. I'm not dying today. I'm not going to shut my eyes just in case. Anyway, the long and short was that I realised afterwards when I got to the hospital that I'd done quite a lot of damage because there were a lot of people there, fussing around me. And I had actually, my right foot had come off. My left foot had been turned the other way, ankle bone exposed, completely shattered. I separated my hamstring, I broke my elbow, I'd lost half of my lower arm, I fractured my wrist, dislocated all my fingers, and I fractured ribs in my back, and it had all kind of gone into spasm. So my mother always said, if you're going to do something, do it properly. So last time I'm listening to her, but it was a big deal. But the point was, I came out of surgery understanding that I was very lucky to have survived, very lucky that they'd sewn my legs back on, unaware at that time that there was a very high chance that I would never walk again. I started working when I came out of the high dependency ward. Somebody asked at my office, do you want to get on with something? And I said, yes. I realised I needed something to feel normal, and work was my way to embrace that. So I kind of got involved with that. I left hospital unbelievably after 12 days, but I was in bed sort of like this. And I was in a wheelchair for 6 months. I gave my first training 11 weeks after the accident, and I then carried on working as long as I could in the wheelchair until such time when the surgeon said, okay, try to walk now. And I thought, that's it, take me home via Life Pharmacy, get me crutches, let me get started. And it was difficult, but I did it. And when I went back, the surgeon said, we can't believe this, don't know how you're doing it, because actually we never ever thought with your injuries you should ever be able to walk. And I carried on doing stuff, and people said, how are you so resilient? And I thought, I don't know, what am I doing? And I realised that as I'd even done speaking a lot on resilience before, and we understood resilience as, or a lot of us, I think of resilience as, think positive, practice gratitude, and you'll bounce back. And I thought, what a load of rubbish. So I thought I need to understand what I'm doing, because I'm doing something and it's working. And so whilst I was working, I then joined up with the University of Pennsylvania under Marty Seligman, the leading positive psychologist, and I started studying positive psychology, and I started realising things I was instinctively doing to thrive, and learning a lot more about what that was and how we could do these things, or how I could do them better, and strategies that worked and didn't work. And then I thought, that's good, I've got a strategy, I've got strategies, but what's motivating me to do this? And I see that some people, when they have a rough time, sometimes they sit and just think, I can't do anything, that's it, I'm done. And I thought, then something is motivating me, where does that come from? So I then worked on resilience, I worked on what they call learned optimism. I then followed through until I was introduced to Gallup Clifton Strengths. And this is all about understanding that we all have an innate ability to, we've all got our own personal resources that we leverage to thrive in life, or not, depending on how we use them. And when this was done for me, it was just such a game changer. And I realised that I was innately using inner strengths I hadn't even thought about. And when I realised what I was doing, I thought, well, look, if I could achieve these things without realising what I was doing, now let's see how I could positively leverage them, and what can I do with that? And the outcomes have been unbelievable. I've had, in 11 years since the accident, I've so far had 20 surgeries to rebuild me with titanium. I have another major surgery or 2 from November onwards. But what I realised is that there were key things that I hadn't figured before when it comes to thriving. And that is, resilience is not a bounce back. When you or anybody are really challenged, it's not a, oh, here you go, I'll just think positive and I feel fine. It takes grit, it takes determination, and it takes absolute effort, because there are days you feel miserable, and you've got to decide, I want to do this. And so that was something that I realised from that, and also the fact that if I could do it, I'm no superhuman. It doesn't require a superhuman gene to be resilient. We can all learn it, but we need to know how. And I thought that after all these years of loving what I did and thinking I'd nailed leadership and helping people, I realised that actually I had survived something that a lot of people probably haven't. I was very lucky to have survived, I'm lucky to have thrived. And it was as if the universe was kicking me into a direction that was saying, you know what, you're lucky you've got there, let's think about what your purpose actually in life should be. And for me, everyone needs a motivation to keep themselves going, but I felt mine was very clear, that I had an ability to influence and help people achieve things through leadership, and I'm an influencer. And the fact that I was able to thrive and had tools and know-how and strategy and experience, it felt the right thing to do, that I should be aiming what I do to help people, whether I predominantly do work with leaders, but with people who need to understand what they can bring to the table and how to be resilient when we're frustrated and overwhelmed and finding things tough in life. And I just felt that this is what I need to be doing, and it's my mission now to aim what I do around helping people to be more resilient in terms of how they approach life and get the best out to what they want to achieve.
Wow, what a brilliant and beautiful, inspiring story. You did mention something very significant that resilience can be learned, like how to make yourself resilient.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has that capacity or the willpower or the determination even to pull through their challenges.
Correct.
So a few key tips on what people can do.
Yeah, if I was to look at three key things, the first thing is self-awareness. You've got to be really clear on who you are, what it is you do well, what it is you're rubbish at, the things that are going to, you're going to find difficult to deplete you, and the things like your inner resources that can help you thrive.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, is getting very clear on its self-awareness.
Right.
The second thing is about mindset. You have got to want to do it.
Right.
You've got to, we all fall into familiar ways of thinking.
Right.
And sometimes certain ways of thinking can trap us in anxiety.
Sure.
When difficulties come. We've got to know how to recognize what those things are and to actually learn how to, I guess, reverse the story, look at it and think, how else can I see this? What else can I do? Is this my only option? Are these thoughts helping me? Are they true?
Right.
And figuring out how we develop a stronger mindset so that we can get very emotional about things.
Yeah.
But emotion is a good indicator of circumstance, but it's not a driver. So we have to learn to be able to separate emotion from fact and look at how we can develop a thinking that's actually going to help us move forwards. So self-awareness, developing a healthier mindset. And to me, the third thing is, we're here, we're alive. How do you make the most of your time? What are the things you can do to take control, to be happy now? People wait to be happy. When I lose weight, I'll be happy.
Correct.
When I have a new job, when I have done. No, happiness is now. It starts right now, and it's learning to celebrate the wins that you have, the successes that you have, and learn to amplify that. So those are the three key areas I probably speak an awful lot on and try to help people look at what they can do to strengthen their own resilience.
Wow, brilliant. On that note, we're going to put a wrap to this video, but on the next podcast, Laura is going to tell us how she has inspired global leaders and how she works with people to bring out their inner strengths, to make them realize their strengths and work around it just for their own success. Thank you so much, Laura, for this lovely, informative talk. And we're coming back with you again. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Do stay tuned for the next podcast with Laura Everest. We'll be back. Thank you.